There are different people from different offices and of different professional calling. Yet they all have one thing in common. They are captains of the Nigerian business and economy community. EOM Business Network. So much for one broadcast.
Hello there and welcome. It's another beautiful morning and this is the EOM Business Network. Oh yes, the EOM Business Network is a weekly in-depth report and analysis as it concerns the economy, revolving around the operators of businesses and of course the emerging markets. I am Elkanah Oganovo Mowari, and good to know you've taken time off your busy schedule to be a part of this week's broadcast. And so in continuation of our focus on the marketing communications industry in Nigeria, we shall bring you one of the fastest growing marketing firms. We're talking about Chris Parks Marketing Solution in a face-to-face with the CEO, Chris Parks himself. Sit back now, relax yourself as we unfold the details. It is indeed incisive. Do stay with us.
We started in July 2002 and we started as a marketing consultant. Hours of opening doors. I had the privilege of British American Tobacco hire me for 18 months, and that very same year Guinness came to me with the largest job they've ever done and insisted I work for them, which was very flattering. After a lot of singing and dancing around the financials, we came to an agreement, and it was at that point I thought, I do need some people around me, because it was just my driver and myself. Can't draw. So the two of us had to move on and start hiring people a bit quickly. And that's how we kind of started, and it was a fantastic way to start. And we've carried on with multinational clients. We've carried on great relationships over the years. It's varied, it's gone up and down, the economies have changed, people have changed. And it's been a turbulent, interesting, sometimes rewarding, not as often as people believe it to be, experience. Good fun. I've met some good people. I've trained a lot of good people who've gone out there and started their own business now, which I think is a compliment to this place. But we're here now and we still have the same feel and beliefs in this market, and we still have multinational clients with us. So yeah, it's been turbulent. There's been some crisis points, as there are with any business, but it's strength of character of the people that work with me that's pulled us through it. It's been clients who are real, loyal and appreciative that have pulled us through it. So all in all, interesting times. Unlike the advertising agencies, we don't tend to have foreign partners per se. I do have partners in the UK who are of similar ilk to ourselves. They're a marketing consultancy group, Step Jump Limited. We've worked on some projects together. We worked on Coca-Cola, we've worked on Guinness, we've done some TV shows, but they don't influence us very much here. We tend to be helping them because they do a lot of consultancy in areas that we're not good at or not our core business. So we will provide support to them here. Likewise with one or two contacts in the UK that we're trying to bring out here in terms of business, they help us there. So it's a slightly different arrangement to being the child of a large advertising group. The vision is to work with a small group of multinational companies that are serious, that are willing to take us into their heart of the business and allow us to perform what we do well as professionals. So often large multinationals just treat particularly BTL agencies as suppliers, and that's quite incorrect, whereas qualified probably more so than some lawyers. The mission for CPMS is to become West Africa's most professional market consultancy. I don't want to be the biggest. I'd love to be the richest, but that's hardly going to be likely. But I'd like to be the most professional. And I'd like the business or the industry to start going in that direction, which we'll probably talk about a bit later. But it's my mission to make CPMS the most professional marketing consultancy in West Africa. I think it was a comment made by a large telecoms company some time ago, and they said to us, when we hand out briefs to our other 2 agencies and yourself, making 3, we know what those other 2 agencies are going to bring us. We never know what you're going to bring. Often, and I think that's a reflection of our thinking, we do think differently and we do put a passion behind it. Sometimes, yes, it's expensive. The ideas are expensive. They don't fit clients' budgets. Well, that becomes a business decision on their part, and if they can't accept it and don't want to work with that, then it's a business decision on ours. Can we make it work for a lot less? But I think it's the excitement of what we come up with that makes us different to everyone else. We don't follow set formulas. Well, I've had long relationships with British American Tobacco on all their brands, whether it be Benson & Hedges, Dunhill, Rothmans. Guinness, we've worked right across all their brands, on every brand we've worked on. Worked with Guinness for 12 years. Working with Nigerian brewers now, we moved on. And we worked with Star & Gulda. Worked with Distell, a South African company that makes Amarula, JC LaRue, Knight's Whiskey, and a number of other brands. We work on those here and in Ghana. So that's great. We've worked with a number of banks. I've worked for Etisalat. I worked for Airtel's original company, right the way through. And each time it changed from Econet to Vodacom, and then Vodacom to V-Mobile, V-Mobile to Celtel, Celtel to Zain. We had to repitch for the business. When it changed from Zain to Airtel, I just thought, no, forget it, I've done enough here, let's move on. So we worked for Etisalat. In my days prior to CPMS, I've worked with MTN. So yes, a good telecoms background as well. A good brewing background, and a good cigarette business. So cigarettes, booze, and telephones, that's the main core business. We've got involved with a lot of other companies at various levels, whether it's insurance or banks. So it's a very widespread experience, but I would say the key multinationals: brewing, cigarettes, and telecoms. I'm a great believer in training. The problem is it's a fine balancing act because we run a very, very tight ship. I'm possibly understaffed, but then I believe everyone should work as hard as they can. And if they run out of hours during the day, then I will start to hire more people. I try and train as often as I can because you cannot fault training. We have experienced people. I need them to be better, and the only way they're going to get better is through training. So yeah, but it's difficult finding the time for them to do their job and do the training. But we do manage. We do a lot of in-house training. I try and pass on as much of my experience as I can, and I get the accountant to train them on finance, and I get, that way we can do a lot ourselves. But there are some very good courses around, very good teachers around. So I do value it when we can send them out and pay an absolute fortune to have them trained. It's changed a lot. I think OAN has had a huge influence on those changes, very positive changes. We noticed that a lot of the states now have followed the lead of Lagos with their taxing of signs, boards, advertising. That's generating revenue for governments, that states that need to stand on their own and try and not live off the federation. The industry itself is coming into line. It used to have a lot of cowboys, a lot of rogues. It used to be very messy. I know in Kano, because that's where I'm very close to, we're involved with Kano, that on one roundabout there were 32 billboards. How can you have 32 billboards on a roundabout? So I think with the help of OAN, we've managed to help regulate the business so that the advertisers get a good deal and value for money. The government and the state get a good deal in terms of a better environment, and the outdoor practitioners can actually charge a bit more and make a bit more money as well. It's a win-win for everybody, but it has to be a joint effort altogether, and I think OAN deserves congratulations, and I think you know, even ABCON deserves some congratulations there. They got involved at some point. So I think it's well organised, but it's got a long way to go. Absolute long way to go. Lagos, for example, I think is drowning in outdoor media, and I get very frustrated with the amount that I see there. But it's commercial. We're in a democracy, I think, and so yeah, it's okay. It's got a long way to go though. The industry has moved on very, very fast. It's developed with lots of smaller companies starting who are hungry for business. We've got the telecoms industry that changed people's ways of communicating. So it's gone from, I'll come and see you next week, to here's an email, do it now. So we've gone from a few days in communication between each other to instant communication. That's affected the marketing industry hugely as well. Deadlines have got really short, demands have increased, but the benefits are that, you know, everyone is generating more business, and from that clients are selling more products, the government's getting VAT and benefits there, the employment's improving, the marketing industry is getting bigger. It's also becoming more specialised too. You know, the digital era has been with us for a long time, but suddenly everyone's woken up to it and they said, that's it, we've got to do that now. So everyone go away and do the digital bit, let me carry on with what I'm doing. I'm quite happy. But I think the industry itself has grown. There's a lot more in terms of professionalism, but at the same time there's a huge demand on training. You mentioned training earlier. There needs to be better training and better disciplines, because the marketing industry is not disciplined. I think ABCON's actually starting to drive it, and they're starting to make themselves felt in a, well, not more positive, but a better way than the past. In the past they've supported the advertising industry very well, but they haven't recognised the below the line industry. Now BTL is taking up to 60-70% of advertising budgets or marketing budgets. They've suddenly, you know, they've set up now and said, hey, BTL, you're now part of ABCON. Those are arguments one can have at any time. But I would like to see ABCON get more involved with the BTL industry if they are intending to do so. I'd like to see some BTL members on the board, on the committee. There is no one there with any serious BTL experience. Yes, they have agents, you know, in the agencies, they have BTL departments or smaller companies, but they're all advertising people. And advertising people are not BTL. And I'm sorry, there are two completely different industries. So I'd like to see ABCON pull that together, and they can do that swiftly by bringing in more members on the BTL side and listen to them, understand them. And I think it's ABCON's responsibility to drive it. It's an industry issue, so that's where I see it. Well, having worked with multinationals, we were forced to, whether we liked it or not, and I quite like it, fit in with global best practice for our clients. Very, very strict about it. And that goes back to where I want to be. I want to be the most professional marketing consultancy. And if you don't follow global best practice, you can't be that. So, yeah, I think it's important to follow. It's extremely difficult to follow. It can be heartbreaking. It can cost you business. And that has cost me a lot of business over the years because we follow the best practice. And not all clients do the same. So, yeah, it's affected us, but I'm still here. We're 12 years old and still going strong and growing. So yeah, I guess in the end the good guys win, and the bad guys will always wear the black hats and stand in the background. Let's make it clear, this is a democracy. So protectionism, which is what I see this as, shouldn't apply here. These foreign agencies should have the freedom to set up here the same way that the telecoms company came in and set up here. They're investing, they're hiring staff, they're training, they're creating competition. And hey, competition's good for clients, it's good for the industry. So I don't understand what our local agencies are so worried about. We have some damn good local agencies, very professional agencies. They are excellent. They have nothing to worry about. And if they do, then they should look inside to themselves first. Welcome the competition. It's the same everywhere else in the world. Well, maybe not China, but it's in most countries. And it's a free for all, and it's those that are the best will survive. But it will bring up the standards here. It will increase the creativity. It will make it more exciting. And it'll make this market vibrant, very vibrant. So how do I feel about it? Bring it on. Bring them in. And, you know, let's get going with it. And stop worrying about, oh dear, you know, more competition. How are we going to manage this? Train more people. Be good at what you do. And don't worry about it. Fight for what you're good at, and those that are good will survive. Born in the UK, London, dragged up in London till I was 11, went out to the countryside. At the age of 16, left school, went into a print shop, and I was the boy sweeping the floor, counting the oily rags, carrying 3 or 4 tons of paper around all day, every day. I was fit, young and healthy in those days. That's all changed. But I got frustrated at the age of 20 because there were more people earning money on the dole, or earning more money than me on the dole. So I left. I tried to get to Canada. They wouldn't have me. Too many American draft dodgers in those days. Tried to get into Australia. They wouldn't have me. Finally, I got a phone call from South Africa saying, look, we know you want to leave, come here. I said, all right. So I had these great plans to walk down through Africa. In those days you could, there weren't too many wars. They said, no, we want you next week. So I spent 15 years in South Africa working for major multinational companies, advertising agencies. Yes, I do have an advertising background as well. Set up my own business there. Someone approached me and said they're looking for someone in Madagascar. I said, I'll do it. Set up an ad agency, billboard company, see, a billboard company, and an import-export company. I said, I'll do it. Signed everything and thought, where the hell's Madagascar? I found it was close enough to where I wanted to be. Did that for 4 years, and in my usual fashion, upset the French there. There's the French mafia run Madagascar, basically. 5 families. I upset them because I stole all the major advertising accounts. The cigarettes, the beer, there we go again. and the giant supermarket chains. So the indigenous agencies didn't have anything. So they ran me out. It took them 6 months. They offered to take me out in a coffin. I didn't agree with that, but it took them 6 months. And I went back to South Africa and thought, what am I going to do? And I got an opportunity to go and set up an agency in Tanzania for Coca-Cola. But at the same time, I got a phone call from George Thorpe here in Nigeria. I thought, Nigeria? Let me come up and see it. Spent a week up here at the Sheraton, locked away in a nice cozy Sheraton hotel. And when they went home in the evenings and I saw them leave, I got into a cab and started going around Ikeja and checking out the piano bar and various other great outlets, listening to jazz and Fela and all of that, and I loved it. I loved it. So I thought, yes, I'll come and work here. So I joined Tequila in February 1996. 9 staff, no business. 6 years later, 42 staff, left as one of the largest below-the-line agencies to start my own business. And that's where I am today. 18 years in Nigeria, love it. Married to a beautiful Nigerian lady. I've got lovely children here. So yeah, I'm very happy. Because I travel so much, I don't spend so much time with my children, so I try and spend time with them. I love cooking, so I cook for my children, which is maybe why they're getting so tall and growing so large. But I enjoy that, I enjoy wine, I enjoy mixing with friends of mine here over a couple of beers and watching the football. But most of it's home life now. The days of gallivanting around town and going to nightclubs and that, long gone, long gone. I can't stay awake long enough anyway. It has to be my children. I mean, it's, I have 6. So they're my most priceless possessions. And they've given me 4 grandsons now, so I'd add those to it. My wife, because it was my wife here, my Nigerian wife, that led me to Christ. She's the one that is watching my back. She's my managing director here at CPMS. She does a fantastic job. So maybe the most priceless possession is the family, is the best way to put it. Material possessions, they come and go. I'm driving a very nice Porsche Cayenne, very happy with that, but I've also kept my old 8-year-old Nissan Armada because I love it. It's a big tank, and for going through Lagos traffic, I don't mind bashing a few people with that. The family are the most priceless and important.
TVB Worldwide, like I said, is one of the largest advertising networks in the world.
Well, and that's about all time we permit on this week's package of the EOM Business Network. However, we're hopeful that you have been more informed on the Chris Park Marketing Solutions Limited. And just in case you missed the broadcast, you can join us still on www.eomcommunications.com. In the meantime, a big thank you to our sponsors for their interest and support. And on behalf of the rest of the EOM family, I am Elkanah Ogenovo Mowar. Same time, same channel next week. We hope you join us then.